Hello, Mark Crossfield here. We're going to do a lesson today talking about dynamic loft. So each club you have in your bag has a loft, but we're talking about the loft you present at impact. What are you increasing or decreasing? What loft are you presenting at impact? Has a massive influence on the way the ball flies, height, spins, distance, also direction to a certain extent as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to control dynamic loft. I've posted a few things on Facebook recently and Twitter about how a drill I'm using to help some of my students improve their dynamic loft to get the best distance and best accuracy out of their game. Just going to share it today with you in this video lesson. Let's get stuck in. Right guys, dynamic loft. I'm getting a lot of lessons at the moment who I'm using a drill to try and help them improve their dynamic loft. So dynamic loft is the loft that you present at impact. In my hands I've got a 6-iron here. Now I would choose a 6-iron on a golf course to hit a certain distance. Now if I choose a 6-iron and it's got a certain loft on the club, but when I hit the ball I'm adding or taking off too much of the loft. Today we're going to talk mainly about people who are adding loft, so what people call kind of flippers at the bottom, real common problem where the club almost looks like it's really overtaking the hands and the hands are left back. So adding dynamic loft. If you're changing that loft through impact, then hitting target is really tough. So what I notice with students is they come in for lessons and I say, how are you hitting the ball? And they say, oh, I'm hitting it okay. And I say, what, you're missing left or right, or where are you missing? And they can't often answer. They would say, oh, I hit the ball quite straight, but I don't kind of strike my irons that well, or I don't make the distance I think I should. And then we measure them on GC2 HMT here. We measure where the ball goes and measure what their club's doing through impact. And you can notice that their dispersion is quite tight left and right. It would hit most greens. It's not particularly going that far left and right, but short and long dispersion is huge, can be 40 yards for some people, say with a 6 or 7-iron. So what's happening, what's making the dispersion short and long is the quality of strike. Where they're hitting the ball on the face can make that ball go shorter, which we'll talk a bit about today as well. But also what loft they're presenting with certain clubs. I've been doing a lot of gap testing recently as well with GC2 HMT here, and I'm getting a lot of people who find that they don't get the gaps between their irons, and it's not because the loft on the iron isn't correct, the gapping on the irons is fine. It's that when they get to certain clubs, they start to present different lofts. So when they get to their 7, 6 and 5 irons, if you like, they're presenting more loft. So they're actually presenting almost the same dynamic loft with their 7-iron as they are with their 9-iron. So what they see is they don't see the stepping in the distance. They all start bunching up in the middle. So let's talk about a drill about how to stop the very common kind of flicking forward, adding dynamic loft fault. Now, first thing that seems to happen for people with this, just to give you some ideas if you might be one of these people, is when you look at their strike patterns, you tend to find the strike is very much at the bottom of the club. Instantly they're going to lose a bit of distance with that. Generally they can get a little bit of higher spin and they're going to lose distance from not hitting the sweet spot. So what happens if I've got a ball on the ground and I present more loft, so I lean the handle back, I lean the hosel back, what happens is it's very hard to hit the ball up the face. I could have a 0 angle of attack, so not going down or up, we're not talking angle of attack, we're just talking dynamic loft today, but I could lean the hosel forwards and that ball starts impacting on the 4th to 5th groove high, much higher up the face, nearer the sweet spot, purely on what dynamic loft and how I'm angling the hosel backwards or forwards. So strike is the first thing you tend to notice when you get people like this. When they watch themselves on video or we record them, it doesn't always show it video. That's the problem with video, that's why we measure. But you see these kind of impacts where they say, oh look, I'm flicking it forwards, I'm flipping at it, people call it. And then we confirm that with whatever loft they're delivering, and often it's more. So they present more loft than is actually on the club at impact, sometimes up to 10 degrees more loft, which means their 6 or 7 irons turning back down into an 8 or 9 iron. So they're going to lose massive distance through those two things, strike and through delivery. Now, people work really hard on saying things like more lag and dragging the handle forwards and these kind of things to try and improve this kind of early release, or this casting as people call it, which I'm not a big fan of those words. I think they get people very confused. I do a very simple drill with people and it seems to work very quickly, kind of about 10 shots. It really starts to change their dynamic loft and their ideas of delivery. Simply all I do is I play with how you should deliver the club. the way I do it, it's a great way for you to practice this. If you're someone who suffers from strikes out the bottom, sometimes people hit the ground first, those kind of things, the club's getting down a bit early. Certainly when they do strike it, it's going higher and not making the distance. So what I get these people to do is I get them to make their more normal setup with their grip and what have you. I'd ask them just to release the pressure in their grip, and I twist the club face 20 degrees closed. So they don't turn their grip is neutral to this 20 degrees closed face. So they're ignoring the face, they're just gripping the handle and twisting the club within their grip. They're not twisting their grip around. Now with that 20 degrees closed club face, I say to them, where do you feel like you're going to hit the ball? And they obviously say it feels like I can't hit it, it's going to go low left. Low because they feel like they're taking the loft off, and left obviously because the club is pointing to the left. And I say to them, right, the brief now is that you've got to not hit it left. Absolutely not allowed to hit it left, you've got to hit target. And what you find they tend to do as they come in to hit the ball is they push the handle forwards to try and take that closed face back to a neutral position. So they take that closed face back to more of a straighter to target, to slightly to right ideally, because they might get a little bit of draw kind of position. But what they're really doing is getting the feeling of delivering the handle forwards of the head, with the head turning around a fraction. So it allows them to absolutely control and manipulate dynamic loft. Now they hit 5, 10 shots depending on how they go. They tend to hit the first 2 left, and then they start to hit a few bit more out towards target. So mine's actually gone right there as I started with it closed, but I've just delivered it way forward the handle to make that face actually point to the right of target, and the ball went out much lower because I just took all the loft off. Then what I ask them to do is after 5 or 10 shots, go back to their normal setup. Don't change anything. Sometimes it requires a little bit more of a twisted grip to get the feeling of this handle forwards, but that's not always. So a bit more of a stronger kind of 2.5 to 3 knuckle grip if they're on 2. Right hand just slightly under the club. And then from there, what I ask them to do, club face is now pointing at target, is simply hit the ball with that same feeling like they can't go left, like they're going to deliver that handle forwards. And what they do is they instantly get that feeling for controlling dynamic loft. Sometimes controlling dynamic loft is as simple as measuring it, show them it, and then getting them to learn literally how to manipulate that with feelings down through impact and what have you. Now they're not changing it here, they're taking preparation as they pull down to make sure that handle's further forward, because it's so hard to influence things down there. But you can still feel that you're influencing things down there, and you'll do it early enough to change it through impact. It is a fantastic drill for people who suffer from the flippy forwards kind of position. Now what tends to happen for people, if I was to hit this shot to my white disc out in the distance, my target, but I'm going to point the face kind of into the corner of the range here, so let's call that 10 degrees open, 10 degrees to the right of target. Grip neutrally, so not going to grip to that face, I'm gripping this end as if that isn't twisted. Now the only way for me to feel like I can hit target from here is to actually flip that handle forwards to get that face pointing anywhere nearer that target or anywhere more in relationship to my path to try and feel like I'm hitting that target. But what I'm actually doing is just adding loads of loft. So by getting people to get used to hitting the ball with a 20 degree closed face and doing the very opposite, don't hit left, drag that handle forwards, it instantly gives them the feel of controlling dynamic loft. If you control dynamic loft, you'll control your spin more, you'll control your launch, which then allows you to control your distance. And if you can control those things, remember at the start, if you're not dispersing it particularly left and right, which lots of my lessons don't, they think they're missing left and right, but they're actually missing short and long more than they're missing left and right. If they're dispersing 20 yards left and right, they're often dispersing, say, 60 yards short and long. So trying to hit it straighter isn't the problem. Trying to hit it more the same distance every time is the bigger issue, and that will be controlled through how you control dynamic loft at impact. Look guys, hope this helps. Slightly different, gives you a bit of an idea of what goes on when you start measuring using devices, launch monitors like GC2 HMT, and you work from impact backwards. So rather than excuse me, rather than thinking just hitting certain positions which actually don't often influence anything down at impact, but you actually trying to influence impact conditions, so dynamic loft or face angle, face the path, those kind of things. The changes not only are quantifiable because you've got the data there measured and you can present it to people and show them that that's what you were hitting, and then you're now hitting it 10 yards further or 20 yards straight or whatever. What it does is it kind of empowers people to have the confidence to actually feel like they're controlling impact. If you think about a good player playing, when I play, okay, I'm going to call myself a good player. This is a 6 iron, and I've got my yardages on my 6 iron because I've done a gapping test. My 6 iron is 177. I won't get that yardage, hardly ever, the 177. It's a benchmark that I start from, and then I manipulate the speed of delivery of this club head, the dynamic loft, to play around that 177 yardage. So let's say I've got a 187, but my 5 iron is going to go too far and I don't want to hit a soft 5 iron. What I would do is take a bit of loft off the 6 iron and then hit it harder to try and push it up to that 184 or 187 or whatever distance. I might push the ball slightly back in my stance, lean the handle forwards. As I swing, I feel like I'm going to hit down and hit hard to try and push this up to the distance I want, subject to how I'm feeling the club. So what you're going to find, even without articulating it, good players are manipulating dynamic loft, club head speed 90% of the time. They're doing it. If you're there on the range just hitting shots, standard shots, trying to hit target, you're not actually practicing golf. You've got to learn how to influence dynamic loft, club head speed, play with these things, learn how to control them. That's what good players are doing. You'll be able to hit your distances. Your dispersion will get closer because your short and long dispersion will get much tighter because you're hitting your distances, and you will shoot lower scores, I guarantee you. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helps. Like I say, a bit different. Love to hear your comments. Post comments down below. Let me know if this helps or doesn't. If you understand or don't, we can do other ones to try and make it clearer for people. But thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you soon. So if you like what's going on here, don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. Also, thumbs up the video, post comments. Love to hear what you guys got to say. Let's keep it social. The more we talk, the more we share, the easier this game will get for everybody. So if you want to find me on Facebook here, you can find me on Facebook. If you want to tweet me, find me on Twitter here as well. Just follow the links, all in the description. Come and join the show. Get active, get involved, get playing some better golf. Thanks for watching.